Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
The song that you are currently listening to is called Funky Driver. It's from the self-titled album by Phoebe Nix. You can find releases from Phoebe Nix wherever you get your music, and find a ton of exclusive releases by heading to their Bandcamp, phoebenix666.bandcamp.com. You can also keep up with them by following them on Facebook and by following them on Instagram, phoebenix666. Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. I'm finally bringing you the follow-up to our previous episode, which was supposed to promote a show that has now already happened. I still wanted to get these interviews out, though, because last episode we talked about the Allman Brothers tribute band, the Other Brothers, bringing on member Bill McKay to talk about the group. Now, we're going to bring on two performers from the opening act, Phoebe Nix. But before we get into those interviews, some preliminary announcements. If you're interested in subscribing to The Mountaineer today to get news from peak to peak, then be sure to head to our website at the mtnear.com and click subscribe in the top right corner of our homepage. From there, you'll get full access to our digital archive and scanned copies of our physical newspaper. And you can even choose to receive a physical subscription by sending it to your mailbox or sending it to someone you love. If you're interested in being advertised in the podcast and or the paper, then be sure to email myself at media@themountaineer.com and or our editor-in-chief, Barbara Hardt, at info@themountaineer.com, and check out the available options by going to the mtnear.com/advertise. Also, reach out if you're interested in being involved in the podcast in any way, shape, or form, as a DJ, as a contributing voice, or as an interviewee. And finally, promotional announcements brought to you by The Mountaineer.
Looking for a unique advertising opportunity? The Mountaineer Podcast may be a perfect fit for you. Our podcast reaches local listeners at least 3 days each week. We can create your podcast commercial for you, or you can submit your own. Contact Amanda McDonald for additional information. Her email is adsales@themountaineer.com, and her cell is 720-960-2900. Have you checked out the Mountaineer YouTube lately? We are very excited to have a videographer intern this spring, as well as Clementine Miller, who's been working hard to record some of our local events and meetings to share with you. Go check it out on the Mountaineer YouTube. Have you seen our 2024 Peak to Peak Visitors Guide? We have just launched our 2025 Media Kit for the next guide. Go to our website and click on Advertise to see the full media kit there. Spring is springing, and we all know that means the flowers will be popping out all over the place, reminding us of beautiful art. That also means it's time to start thinking about the 2025 studio tour. Go to our website and click on special sections to view the 2024 guide and prepare yourself for this year's edition.
All right, let's get into our interviews for this episode. Our first guest, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
My name is Christopher Robert Klaus, also known as Phoebe Nix.
This interview was originally conducted on May 2nd, 2025. Now, I just had Christopher on a couple of episodes ago to promote another group that he's a part of, Canyon Collective. And now his project, Phoebe Nix, has performed at the Caribou Room as the opener for the Other Brothers. Has Phoebe Nix performed in the Peak to Peak area before?
We've played a bunch of shows up in Gold Hill at Mike McNett's place up there, the Gold Hill store. But no, dude, I went to see Thunder Boogie probably 2 months ago at the Caribou Room, and I was just taken by that venue. Never played there before, know a bit about the Caribou history and all the cool things that happened there. Joe Walsh, Neil Young and stuff back in the day. But seeing Thunder Boogie there, they're one of my favorite bands around here. And man, they tore that room up. Super cool sound, super cool environment. So I definitely, after being there, I was like, we have to play this room.
So how did Phoebe Nix start as a project in the first place?
Well, because I talked about it a little bit when I love music. I love writing songs and stuff. Always been into that. But maybe around the time I was like 18, 19, I had moved back to New Jersey. And oddly enough, I think I was writing a poem to submit to a poetry contest. And I wanted to do it anonymously. So I was thinking of like pen names. And some of the themes of the poem had to do with like a phoenix reincarnating and burning itself and starting over. And so I was thinking of the name Stevie Nicks and Phoenix just mashed up as kind of like a funny gag. And then I started doing some open mics and eventually put together a little band and started playing in Jersey and calling myself Phoebe Nix, with this idea that I wanted to use a name that sounded familiar and that people would be like, I kind of know what that is, but it was obviously not Stevie Nicks and nothing to do with Fleetwood Mac. So that's kind of how that got started.
So how long have you been writing original songs?
We had in high school this band we called the Mooge. We used to say, do you want to jam? And then we said, do you want to joom? And then we started saying, do you want to mooge? The word like devolved over time, and so we just called the band the Mooge. And then we called it Free Weed because we thought that would make people come to shows, but then promoters like, we can't put a flyer that says Free Weed in our door. So that didn't work. And there was a band, The Ambiguous Descent. That was like 14-year-old me. This is all on YouTube if you really want to be crazy people and dig. It's out there, I swear to God. It's embarrassing. But I was writing some little pop punky kind of ditties and stuff, man. Like I had some cute little songs. There's one from that era that we still play, actually. It's called Really Don't. And I think I was like 17 when I wrote that. It doesn't sound like the way I wrote it. I play it a lot different now, like more funky. It was very like a rock song kind of thing. But like a couple of those songs have actually lasted since that high school era when I was first writing songs.
And over the years of developing your sound, do you remember any moments where you realized what you wanted your sound to be?
I've never had that moment because for most of the stuff I've recorded it all myself and played it all myself, and my whole thing was I love all different types of music and I wanted to just write songs I liked that kind of incorporate, like I never wanted to say I was one genre. And even without trying, I just write, I guess, different kinds of stuff, and people would even be like, I don't know what to call your band, like what style. Like I tell people rock and roll now because it's encompassing of the spirit that I feel, and I came up on rock and roll roots, but it's hard to pin down in that way because they all sound like Phoebe Nix songs to me. For those of you that are into music theory, like people that are into music theory, you'll notice a lot that I do these 1 minor 2 minor 3 up and down kind of things a lot, or 1-2s. I like Lydians, I like the 4 chord, I like the 5 chord. There's definitely things I do in my writing a lot, but even over time as I've gotten into jazz and more far out music, those things change, right? And I start incorporating all this weird new territory into my music.
So there's no definitive sound for Phoebe Nix. You just write and perform what feels right.
Playing songs that I like, I want to play music that's fun to play.
And when did you start bringing other people in to perform your songs in a band capacity? How has the band developed over the years?
It's a good question. I definitely always wanted to lead my own band and be a front man and sing up front. So it was just about, this sounds sociopathic if I put it like this, but I needed a rhythm section. Like I couldn't just go up there with an electric guitar. I wanted a darn drummer and I wanted a bass player at the least. And I usually like to have a keyboard player. Here's where I am egotistical. I'll never have a second guitar on stage. That's my world. I don't want anyone else in guitar world with me. I want total room to be little or be big and not have to think about anyone else in that world. But having a really competent keyboard player, that's like a necessity to me. Because they could take that rhythmic comping role, but they could also take that lead solo role. And they could occupy, like Ryan's Nord can sound like 3,000 different instruments. And it sounds really good on all 3,000 of those. So there was definitely I wanted to have a band so that I could play shows, right, and rock out and bring the whole rock and roll feeling to people. So that was a necessity. There's been probably, if there's ever a Wikipedia article, there'll be 50 people that have played in this band, and I'm not even exaggerating. So many people over the years have been on stage with me in different lineups and different versions of this band.
So the lineup changes with whoever can jump in.
Until I drive them crazy, basically, They're like, I can't do this anymore, you're crazy.
And what stuck out to you the most about writing and singing your own original songs?
Well, when I was a little kid, kid on the bus, I could never stop singing and stuff. Like I remember this kid beating on me and being like, shut up. And I was laughing. I couldn't stop singing because it was so funny to me. It felt so good to sing. I remember that as a kid. It felt so good. And it was funny to me that this guy was so upset by me having so much fun, I thought. I just couldn't stop enjoying it. But yeah, I think that part of me is always just, I hear stuff in my head, music all the time and ideas. And I'm always thinking of stuff and what I could do with stuff. And yeah, as soon as I had the wherewithal to write a song, that's the weird thing about it. And this, I don't mean to sound like, oh, it's magic or something, but it is, because I don't really try to write songs or set out to write them like anything or in a style or an idea. Like I just will get a feeling from time to time. It's like, go pick up an instrument. And it could be a voice memo in my voice, and I just get the idea and I sing it out. And I'm like, yeah, these are the chords I hear, this idea. And I've taken those songs home and recorded them, and that's some of the songs we play now. They just kind of come when they want. They say don't look a gift horse in the teeth, right? Like I try not to think or analyze it or ask too much out of it, and just sometimes I don't write a lot and I'm in a phase of living and working and doing stuff that inspires me. And I think that's too, like my main inspiration is life. It's not music. Like I don't listen to music to write music. I live, I go work, I go do things and projects and spend time with people. And after all that, somehow at some point the feeling comes, and then there's a song that encapsulates that energy of that time in my life. I'll add this too, one thing that's really, when I was younger, the songs were darker, right? The lyrics were darker, the music didn't sound very fun or happy. It was like heavy stuff and somber. And now if I pretend I'm not me and I listen to these songs, they're fun, the lyrics are fun, they're about nice things. I'm like, oh, it's hopefully a good sign that my inner spirit or whatever, my spirit itself is in a balanced and happy place, because the music that's coming out naturally is celebratory.
So did Phoebe Nix start out as a solo act?
I've done a ton of acoustic, like especially in the beginning. Phoebe Nix was almost like an open mic brand at days. That's another piece that came out of a time. In Jersey and when I moved here, I was hitting a lot of open mics, and that was where I do solo stuff. And I'll still from time to time, I'll do like an acoustic solo set. It's almost like as I've gotten older and, as you get older as a tenor boy, your voice gets lower and you can't do as many crazy things. And I smoke way too much, right? So these things add up. I'm almost more scared about playing my songs solo, and just having people listening on that level is intense. I'm very used to right now playing venues and bars and stuff where people are paying attention, but they're not dissecting it, right? But yeah, I do like from time to time to get out there, strip it down, and just play some songs. I've done a few at Trident over the past couple of years that have been really rewarding like that.
So then, in regards to performing in general, do you prefer playing solo or performing in a group? Are there pros and cons to both?
Phoebe's definitely my favorite thing to do, and I especially like to do it preferably with my band. And the lineup of guys I have playing right now, it's a joy. I could not play the gig and just listen, and it would be a great gig, and I would enjoy hearing them play the music. That would be enough, right? But there's merits, and like Phoebe Nix is very stressful too, right? Like when we do these bigger shows and we have to sell tickets and promote, the way I am in life is I kind of run a little hot. When I care about something, I'm like, oh my God, we got to do it great. I take it very seriously. I care a lot, right? So like I'll kind of freak myself out, whereas if I'm playing like a Canyon Collective gig, it's exact opposite. Like I couldn't be more relaxed on stage. And I'm playing bass, I ain't really got to sing. One of the big anxieties is just having to sing, right? Because my fingers, if I don't use a grinder for 10 hours all day or use power tools or dig holes, I know that my hands will be good on the average day. Like I could play guitar with my eyes closed. But singing, it could be dry, it could be sick, I could be dehydrated, this and that. So some of these gigs where I get to play, actually this weekend I'm playing bass with my buddy Duncan Coker. Tomorrow, Saturday at Larimer Lounge, and that was just a last minute call. His bass player couldn't do it, and I was like, heck yeah, it'll be so fun to just go back to, I'm up there with my charts, I don't even know the band, I don't know anybody in the room, and I'm just some weirdo playing bass. I'm just the weird bass player guy tonight. That's so relieving sometimes, and so I really do like those gigs where I'm not fronting the band and I'm just supporting, especially in the rhythm section. Rhythm section is a great place to be in life. If I could be anywhere in the world, the rhythm section is a good place to be.
And through all of the different capacities you've performed in, what keeps you coming back to performing live?
It's fun. And the main decision-making factor in my life is, will it be fun? Is it fun? Do I like it? That really, I try to think like a kid in that way, because kids are so honest about if they like something or if it's fun. If it's not fun, they ain't going to lie to you. You're going to know. They're going to sit there and look at you like, this sucks. I hate this. So yeah, I like to do what's fun. And for me, playing music for a live audience with my buds is just about the funnest thing in the world. There's nothing like it.
And is there anything you hope people will take away from your shows when they come to see you?
Well, I would just hope that people have a good time, that things are fun, that but people, I don't try to think about it too much this way, but I do more and more consciously as I'm writing, have a part of me that's like, how can I make this fun for the audience? How could I have moments in this song that if I was out there, I would lose it, right? Like those I want to lose it moments, make people dance. So yeah, I want to make people feel good. I want them to have a good time. And if they do dig into the music, you know, there's a lot of happy stories in there. A lot of the songs are very literal, plain as fact. Me just talking about things that have happened and people I care about and stuff like that. Like more and more I come from a place of simplicity with these songs and just try to tell simple truth stories, you know, that are just like parables almost, right? Because they ring true because they're so full of obvious truth that they stand on their own weight, their own legs. So yeah, you know, if you ever want to dig into the lyrics, folks, there's some fun stuff in there. Some pretty silly, fun memories and a lot of beautiful people I've written about that I've been very grateful to be friends with and love and know in my life. It means a lot to me. And so I guess that's one of the ways I share my joy of the times I've spent with people I love is it comes out in the music a lot lately. Like the Late Summers EP on Apple Music is all about 3 really sweet women at different points in my life and what they've meant and what we did together.
In general, is there anything else you want to talk about involving Phoebe Nix before we move on to our next guest?
Correct, Jamie. Tracking. You're on it. Yeah, I've got a 17-song album on Apple Music. Oh yeah, because you mentioned that they all have like the space theme and stuff. Late Summer's Moon was my latest release. I think the album cover is a picture of Circle K I took with the full moon over it. You can barely notice the Circle K, but it means a lot, the feeling of that summer and that Circle K. If anyone's ever been to Boulder, Colorado and seen the Circle K at like 1 in the morning, you know what I'm talking about. It's wild stuff. The one on Canyon there in 16. But yeah, we have been working with Jay Elliott. He's been playing drums with us. He's an esteemed, not just drummer, but studio engineer and music educator around here. It's funny, we're all like music educators, nerds. But yeah, Jay's an absolute stud of an engineer, mixing engineer, recording engineer. He's done work for a lot of great artists around here. He's done a few singles and albums with Tom LaFond and folks of that caliber. Love you, Tom, if you're listening. And yeah, you know, I've always had this, I'm going to record it myself kind of thing going on. But I was like, well, you know, try something different. Let's do a single with Jay. And of course, already it sounds above and beyond anything. Just the audio quality, the energy of the other band members actually playing it and liking the song. That helps. Like the guys seem to like the song. And they're playing it like they like it, like they're having fun. So that should be coming out, I'm thinking August. We're looking at maybe August 1st. Maybe I'll spill the beans here. That August 1st will be our single and music video release for Phoebe Nix. Tall Trees, what up? People have been asking us to do that song. We're doing it. And we'll have an album probably in the fall. I'm thinking Halloween, actually. Because I've got all these songs that I did record myself that I'm probably just going to mix down and call done and release. And then we're going to be tracking more with Jay. So yeah, that's all coming down the pipe. I'm in a writing phase again. There's a bunch of new stuff. We got 3 new songs we've been playing in our set list now. We'll be playing all 3 of those next Saturday at Caribou Room. I think they're good songs. There's one about orange wine. There's one called Girl from Antiquity. And there's one called Red Boots. And yeah, they're fun songs. They're also about real things, and at least 2 of them about girls. Classic Phoebe Nix style. Songs about girls and nice days. I should have just said that an hour ago.
I appreciate you taking the time to talk about Phoebe Nix today, Chris. I think those are all the big questions I have on my end.
Thanks. I mean, yeah, the big thing is this Caribou show is our first time. I really respect Danny Schaefer for giving us a shot to play there. They run a tight ship. They got a really good thing going, and we're going to put on our biggest big boy pants and play our butts off. It's with the other brothers. They play Allman Brothers music, and I absolutely love the Allman Brothers. So I'm excited generally to get to be at this show. For those of you a little more front-rangey, like Bouldery, we play the 4th Friday of every month at License 1 under the Boulderado, and we will be doing a live session with Stone Cottage Studios on June 1st. Shout out to Davis. Love you, bro. What they are doing, what that family is doing for local music is a real blessing. Got a lot of respect for Davis and his pops and what they're doing. It's a beautiful space if you haven't heard of Stone Cottage. Really cool music there. They film everything. It's multi-tracked. They have world-class audio recording equipment, engineers working there, and the stuff that comes out of there is just beautiful. It's got like the MTV Unplugged, like all the candles and stuff kind of vibe. But we're totally going to play that as a full band. And yeah, those are just some of the things coming down the pipe. Get you guys a single, get a music video of us looking like we're rocking out. There might be some news soon about us needing your help, audience of the world, to be in that music video. Cool opportunity there. And just thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Mountaineer. What you guys do is really cool. That Canyon Collective show was insane. I guess the capacity for the room might be like 45 or 50. Well, my gosh, I think we sold like 80 tickets. Sold it out and had to turn people away. It was so crazy. So, folks, thank you. Jamie, thank you. You guys blasted that thing far and wide, and people came like moths to the light. And we gave them our best show. Best best rock and roll, jammy jam, funky funk we could give them. And it was sweaty, steamy, and absolutely insane all night.
And now, let's bring in someone from the current band lineup. Our next guest. Do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Hey, this is Ryan Benthall. I'm a pianist, performer, teacher, composer in the Boulder, Colorado area.
So Ryan, I also just interviewed you because you are also a part of Canyon Collective. And now I wanted to shout out Phoebe Nix's opening for the other brothers at the Caribou Room. How long have you been involved in Phoebe Nix? What's your perspective on joining the group?
Yeah, I started with Phoebe Nix going on a couple of years ago. So it's been a band for quite some time now. And I met Chris a couple of years ago through a mutual friend. I was jamming at my friend Ari Mellinger Cohen's house, and we were working on some music of his. And then Chris came over, and we started jamming impromptu. And first time I met him, and he really liked playing music with me and got my number. And then I came out and supported a good amount of his shows before I joined the band just to support, and then he asked me to join it not too long after that because they were going through, some of the members were, I think the keyboardist at the time was getting married at the time, he had some other things going on, and they were wondering if I could join, and so I came into the group about that time, a year and a half going on 2 years ago. That's how it started with me in the band.
Now, I actually interviewed Ryan before I interviewed Chris, as this interview was originally recorded on April 21st. So I did ask Ryan if there was a particular sound that the band leaned toward.
Like an indie rock band. Indie rock with some like psychedelic rock and alternative rock influences. It ranges from everything from the Pixies to Soundgarden kind of vibe is what I've always gotten out of it, which is what I really like about it. Yeah, I think that hits it on the mark. There's some jazz influence in there too, but it's definitely a rock band.
Now, since I focused on Ryan and a lot of his musical ventures in the previous interview with him for Canyon Collective, I wanted to ask questions and dive into more details that I didn't get to talk about in the previous interview. The first question I want to focus on is, how has the Colorado music scene stuck out to you over the years?
Colorado's been really good to me. I've always felt very supported here in this scene. I moved here 4 years ago. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I lived in downtown St. Louis, like in the heart of downtown for 13 years. I was pretty entrenched in that scene. I also worked with a lot of touring bands out of St. Louis. I still perform with Chuck Berry III, Charlie Berry. We do a lot of touring. We're going to Nashville and Chicago and St. Louis and Austin this year, as well as hopefully making a Colorado appearance. I'm like his connection to Colorado here. And actually, he was in town at one point last year, and I was like, hey, let's just book you a show in Boulder while you're here. And he actually jumped onto a Phoebe Nix show with Canyon Collective. So boom, there you go, Jamie. There's all the bands in one. Phoebe Nix and Canyon Collective were doing a show, and then I got Charlie Berry to hop onto the bill, and that's the first time those guys all got to meet Charlie, and so that was the ultimate meeting of St. Louis to Colorado for me, and it was really fun bridging that gap. We had Charlie, they have a big Chuck Berry sign in the back of Velvet Elk in the green room. Not a sign, a picture of him doing the splits in the back, and we had Charlie sign the picture. It was pretty funny. But so I'm from St. Louis. I have a rich background there, and then I transferred over to Colorado during COVID, and actually I wasn't doing any performing. No one was during that time period, August, September of 2020, in the heart of the pandemic times. So I was living up in the mountains close to Netherlands, and I was teaching remotely. I have an online piano lessons business where I also teach composition and voice. I teach a variety of music subjects, actually, but I was teaching remotely online from my mountain home close to Rollinsville. So I was living close to Rollinsville for about a year, and that's how I got involved in the Netherlands scene. Some guys up there, namely there was this one guy named Mike Shifskovich. I probably butchered his name, but he was the librarian, the Netherlands librarian there. He's also from St. Louis, so we had these immediate roots there. There's a whole story behind how I got involved with everybody. The landlady where I was renting this mountain home, she has this crazy backyard where they built like a beach. They built like a man-made pond and sand beach on the side of this mountain. And we threw a music festival there. And there's about 100 people there. Everyone camped out. This is during the pandemic whenever nothing was going on. So a lot of people showed up, and a lot of people were wanting to hang out and see music and party and have a good time, because we were all deprived of it for so long there. So every Netherlands group was there, including Black Dog, my buddy Randy DeLude. We started a band called the Stellar Jays. We just played Outdoors closing day this weekend a couple days ago. And then everyone knew what I did. Everyone saw me play, and everyone was like, oh. And so I got asked to join a bunch of things like immediately after that. And that's how I started with Black Dog. He has a band called New Family Dog. Black Dog's been a staple in Nederland, Denver, this whole Front Range area for probably like 3 decades now. So he was great to get involved with. He's originally from New York. I believe he played with Blues Traveler for a small amount of time too. But he started around that time the Jazz Sundays at Knotted Root with his son Miles Ridnell. There's John Ridnell, aka Black Dog, and Miles Ridnell. They started Jazz Sundays, and I didn't go at first because I didn't really know about it too much. And then I went one time, and I gave them some trouble and everything, and then they're like, oh, why don't you come and join us? And so I started on the Jazz Sundays. This is going into 2021, at the end of 2020, and I've been hosting it ever since. And actually, Black Dog is in New Orleans right now. During the winter time, he goes down to Texas and New Orleans to beat the Eldora cold. And so I've been hosting the Sunday Jazz for over 3 years now. And it's been going great. Might even be going on our 4th year. Now that I think about it, I'm like, wow. So through that, we've had all kinds of people come sit in up there. We've had Eli from Dopapod come and play with us. We've had Jeff Franca from Thievery Corporation come and play with us. We've had Dave Watts from Demoted has played multiple times with us up there. Todd Smallie from the Derek Trucks band come and played. I actually have a side project with them, and they play in my band. So, I mean, I could keep going about my musical endeavors here, but essentially when I joined Phoebe Nix, that was after all that when I moved to Boulder, and I was living in Boulder and kind of getting involved here, and Phoebe Nix is very much a Boulder band, and I played with them at the Fox Theater, at the Boulder Theater. I booked them at the Boulder Creek Fest this year, so we're playing Memorial Day weekend Boulder Creek Fest at the festival stage, and we've done some Gold Hill shows, and now we've got this Caribou Room show coming up. So, yeah, I have a rich history in all this here, but Colorado's been so supportive that it's kept me here, and I'm currently planning on staying in Boulder for the foreseeable future.
And what's been particularly special about the Colorado music scene to you, especially when compared to St. Louis?
Colorado's a very special feeling to it. It's really nowhere else like it. I've toured around the whole country. I've played out of the country. There's something about it here where it feels like magnetizing, and it feels like people are very enthusiastic and supportive about the arts and about music and about dancing. I kind of get that vibe in the Southwest a little bit. When I go down to Santa Fe, there's a similar vibe. A little different, but the only comparable spot I can think of is California to Colorado, because they've definitely got it going on over there. Colorado feels very grounded and very outgoing too. Like everyone's ready to head out there and support. And like I'm from St. Louis, you know, it's like the armpit of the Midwest, and industrial St. Louis too. So way different feeling. It's more outdoor rec here. It's more focused on the outdoors and about connection to nature. And the music reflects that too, which is almost the complete opposite of where I'm from. And it's hard to get people out in those areas in the Midwest. And I don't know, maybe in particular St. Louis and Springfield, Kansas City, it's kind of hard. It's like a different mentality out there. There's different people. Like this area, a lot of people move here, especially Boulder. It's a city that's in flux. I feel like there's a lot of people coming and going, moving here for college, for work. Not everyone that lives here is from here. I think they come here because of the connection to the outdoors, and just there's a certain kind of consciousness that they have that draws them here. And so there's a collection of those people. And it's just harder to get people out in St. Louis unless it has to do with drinking and eating. It's hard to get people to dance too. And it's a good scene. I mean, it's actually world class, and I cut my teeth there, and actually it's where I'm very grateful I'm from. But here, people just kind of want to get out and dance and party and jam more, and they're more active, I guess. It's just like a more active scene, even though I think Boulder definitely needs more music venues. There's only maybe 1 or 2 I can think of, maybe 3. So that's the only downfall. And so that's why Zach with Canyon Collective, we're going to start doing these outdoor music showcases and festivals up 4 Mile this year. We were like, you know, let's just make our own venue and throw our own parties. That's the only criticism I have when it comes to Boulder. I love Denver, though. Denver's got it going on. I frequently play in Denver very often, stay connected there. And I love staying connected in Nederland because it's where I first moved when I lived here. And I love the people up there, and they've always been very supportive of me. Like, people drove down from Nederland to my Dazzle show in Denver to support me, and it goes a long ways.
Now, I wanted to get back to something that you mentioned earlier, and also mentioned in our previous interview that I did not clock the last time. How did you get involved with performing with Charlie Berry and the Berry family?
Oh, it's Man, it's crazy. Where I grew up, it just happened to be in this place where I got involved with some really cool people. When it comes to the Berry family, I played in this band in St. Louis called AZM. It was a math rock band, like crazy math rock. Very like soulful jazz in there too, but mixed with like the craziest time signature, proggy stuff, like Mahavishnu orchestra stuff, but with more of like neo soul in there. I don't know how to describe it. Very crazy band. But so Chuck Berry's first son, his name is Jahi Eskridge, and he played in that band. So I played in the band for a little bit, for a while. We did some shows, and Charlie, which is Chuck's son, Chuck Berry the second, his son is Charlie Berry the third, and so he would come to the shows, and he kind of knew me from playing in that band and from playing with his cousin, which is Chuck's first grandson, Jahi. He doesn't share the same last name though. But Charlie Berry, he started seeing me around, and he asked to take lessons with me. So actually, Charlie Berry was my music student. I was teaching him voice and songwriting for probably almost 3 years. He was my student. So he was actually my student for a while, and I was helping him with his original music and getting that out and how to facilitate that. And then when he, because he's a little bit younger than me, when he was like really ready to get his band going and start that up, he asked me to play with him. And I was playing in a lot of bands at the time. I wasn't able to give him too much time, but he's gotten so much better over the years. And now he's gotten to the point where he's starting to travel. He played at Buddy Guy's in Chicago recently, I think. We've got some Blueberry Hill shows coming out, which is Chuck Berry's old spot that he played every month in St. Louis for years. It's a legendary spot. It's one of the first places I played music when I was a kid, actually, funny enough. So I got involved because he was my student. He reached out to me and took lessons with me. And I'm from St. Louis, so I don't know. I knew Chuck Berry was a legendary figure in music, but I don't know. We all kind of took it for granted that he was just there. And then passed away and everything, and I started traveling and really got the view of, oh wow, he was a major figure in rock and roll history. In fact, he was like the figure, not just that. So I feel very honored to play with the Berry family and to play out with Charlie and help him get his music out. So we'll play a lot of Chuck Berry songs, and we'll also play Charlie's original song. He's very much a storyteller too, kind of more his generation storytelling, kind of like Chuck Berry the first spoke to his generation. Charlie's like more Gen X generation kind of storytelling. It's really cool, but still stays true to rock and roll and total rock band. It's awesome. And I also toured and still play from time to time in a band called the Jackson Stokes Band. And I think Charlie looked out to me because I was playing with them. And Jackson's the lead guitarist of the Devin Allman project. So we were touring with the Allman Betts Band for a while, and we were on Devin Allman's record label, still are. Jackson is, and I played in his band. And so I was also connected with the Allman Brothers family for a bit because Devin is Greg Allman's son. They started a band called the Allman Betts Band. So being from St. Louis, I was connected with the Berry family and Allman family, and I couldn't be more grateful for it, really. And then whenever I moved here, I just kind of take a bit of that with me.
I think that's incredible. But back to Phoebe Nix. What stuck out to you about being a part of this group in particular?
Phoebe Nix, it's just a really fun band to be a part of. And Chris is an awesome guy, fun, eccentric, and writes really good music, and a great singer. And I like to sing too, so I get to sing in the band as well. And I don't know, I like the fact that there's not huge amounts of boundaries in the group. Like I can really have a lot of my input in the songs, and I like the music a lot. I like being in like a more indie rock band where it's focused more on pure original music, and I can maybe get more experimental with. I can add synthesizers. I can put my own sound in there too. And the band's got momentum too, so I like helping it with that momentum, and I'm trying to help get the band to a point where it really has a professional platform to jump out with because the music inspires me.
Now, we just heard from Chris about the fact that Phoebe Nix is a songwriting project for himself, but have you guys been involved in co-writing or co-arranging in any way?
Yeah, I mean, when I joined the band, it was all the songs that Chris had already written and arranged, so I was just kind of fitting in with the charts and everything that he had already written, joining the band. But since joining the band, we've actually co-written a little bit. There's one song in particular that me and Chris wrote together called Phrygian Booty Dance that we just wrote just hanging out at his house and just jamming, and we're like, oh, and we actually like sat down and wrote this thing. Really cool. So we've co-written a little bit, but before I joined the band and kind of getting into it, Chris already had a whole plethora of tunes, and he even had an album under his belt as well. But right now we're actually recording the next single, which is very Pixies rock and roll style at Jay Elliott's house, who I brought into the band, or I referred him to join the band because he was an audio engineer that I recorded my last album with. And also he's a great drummer, so we've been working in the studio for a while, and I'm like, man, Jay, I need to get get you in on drums. Like, we need to be playing more, not just in the studio all the time. And Phoebe Nix had an opening for a drummer at the beginning of this year, and we were like, hey, what's going on? We need this drummer for this shows, because the one drummer we were playing with, he just had a lot going on and wasn't able to do them all. And so I'm like, Jay, yeah, we got this opening, dude. You should totally play drums. He's a great drummer. He's played with some very noteworthy bands too, including Yonder Mountain String Band and Fox Feather. And so he's played in some killer bands, and so happy that he was able to join. So we've been recording the last single at his house with the entire band, with this current lineup, with Michael Santulli playing bass, Chris playing guitar and singing, and I'm playing piano, organ, and synth, and then Jay's playing drums. And Jay has a whole studio at his house that's very top-notch. We've been recording it there, and when this arrangement came in, Chris had written the song. It was a song that was written with lyrics just on the guitar, pretty straightforward. And then when we're in the studio and we're recording, I'll come up with a piano part that wasn't there. And then if they like it, we go with it. But usually I'm writing my parts to complement the song.
And what stuck out to you about performing with Phoebe Nix?
Yeah, I mean, once again, the emphasis on original music. I've also played in a lot of cover bands. I play in a lot of like wedding and corporate bands too, mainly just to make a big paycheck, which actually helps me because then I don't have to take a bunch of small gigs. I can just take a couple corporate gigs and then I can focus more on the original stuff. But playing in a band like this, it's all original music. It focuses on everyone's input and strengths and creativity. There's a lot of energy at the shows too. I like the higher energy music, the maybe more like rock and roll, punk rock vibe in there that is also thoughtful and melodic and poetic and also very danceable and maybe a little bit higher energy than some other bands can really let loose and rock out, which, I mean, I gotta have a band like that. Punk rock is, whenever I was a kid, that's what came up starting with, you know? And so it's great to bring that energy to stages like the Fox Theater and Boulder, and it seems to be received really well. Like, for instance, our last show at the Fox, we opened for a band called Frank Moody, which is a UK house funk band. They're pretty big. I think it was a sold-out show. And, yeah, it was very high energy, and even though a lot of those people were Frank Moody fans and hadn't heard of Phoebe Nix, responded really well, and we can, like, jump around on stage and just take ripping solos, connect with the audience. Yeah, I mean, it's, as I said at the beginning, it's a very fun band.
And is there anything you hope people will take away from the show when they come to see you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just take away a really good time and good memories and maybe inspiration to create in whatever ways that they can and get their minds off of the noise that's out there in the world and maybe the negativity that's bringing a lot of people down. I want them to take away the sense that humanity is still doing great things and still can create amazing inspirational moments. That's kind of at every concert I'm at. That's what I strive for, just creating music in general. And this band, I think, reflects that really well. Just to take away a sense that we're still all in this together and we're helping each other out and helping each other feel good.
And in general, Ryan, what other musical ventures do you have coming up?
The only thing is, I guess, just the only other huge focus that I have outside of these other bands that I've been helping out is my own group. I have my name on it, it's just Ryan Benthall. You can find all my piano music online. I have a trio album that's out on all platforms, and I just came out with a new record on Octave Records that's an exclusive release through the label. So only way to get that record is straight through me or through the record label site, and going through me supports me directly. I have a second album coming out with them in the fall in August. It's very contemporary jazz compositions that also include like analog synthesizer, full horn section, drums and bass. And I've got a few shows coming up with that. I have a residency at Rosetta Hall this year where I play every first Tuesday of the month. I've got Dave Watts playing drums in that band from the Motet, so this is like a side project that I started with him. Well, I guess it's more of a side project for him because he's full-time with the Motet, but it's really great to have him playing. He's a world-class drummer, really creative. I got Todd Smallie playing bass, and David Bernat playing saxophone, Sean Appleby playing trumpet, and a really great guitar player here in Boulder. His name's Jason Greenlaw playing guitar. And my next date's coming up with them. I'm really trying to promote my show May 16th at Stone Cottage in Boulder, which is a limited seating venue, so you got to get your tickets ahead of time. And that'll have some of the original members from the album. We'll be playing my new album, Sovereign Mind, all the way through in its entirety. That's May 16th. May 31st, I'm playing with Dave Watts and Todd Smalley as a trio at Rosetta Hall, and sometimes I have them up at Knotted Roots. I'm up there every Sunday, 5 to 7, for all the Netherland people. We always have a really good crowd. I just did it yesterday, and it's such a good vibe up there every time, and it's always different. And in May, I think that's it. I'm playing Fort Collins with Dave coming up in June. Zach Hedstrom from Canyon Collective, he's been doing these house concert series. So me and Dave are doing our project there June 20th. So that's going to be a house show, music showcase featuring myself and Dave Watts on drums. We'll probably have some horn players with us and some other special guests. And that's at 4 Mile Canyon at Zach Hedstrom's location from Canyon Collective. So it's all connected, and we're all supporting each other because we're all creating music and we need each other to make it. So that's off the top of my head what I got coming up. I'm hoping that we get a lot of people out.
Oh man, well, we've covered a lot of ground. I think those are the big questions I have on my end.
Awesome. Well, really appreciate your time, Jamie. It's really fun getting to these interviews.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. I know I'm releasing this now after the show I promoted with you guys opening at the Caribou Room for the other brothers, but Phoebe Nix still has some very exciting projects coming up in the near future.
Yeah, Phoebe Nix has got a lot of great stuff coming up. There's a lot of momentum with the band. The new recordings are going to be killer. Super excited to share them with everybody. Trying to get those done soon. And I'm hoping that we get a really good turnout to the Caribou Room coming up here. Opening for the other brothers. Should be fun.
Be sure to keep an eye out for upcoming projects from Phoebe Nix. You can find their previous releases wherever you get your music. And be sure to follow them on Instagram at Phoebe Nix66 and learn more about Ryan Benthall's music by going to his website, ryanbenthall.net. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this follow-up episode of our previous Music of the Mountains episode. I'll be back in the next day or two with another music-centered episode. In the meantime, if you want to share this episode or others around with whoever you see fit, then be sure to head to the mtnear.com and scroll near to the bottom of the page, or head to our podcast's main hub at the mtnearpodcast.buzzsprout.com to see a full archive of all of our episodes. If you're interested in being involved in any way, be sure to reach out to info@themountaineer.com and or media@themountaineer.com, and we'll get something sorted for you. And finally, for all of our most important links, including our Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, head to an individual description of one of our podcast episodes, where you can also send us a text to let us know what you think of the podcast and or the paper. We'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. The song that you are currently listening to is called She's So Wild. It's from the EP Late Summer's Moon by Phoebe Nix. You can find releases from Phoebe Nix wherever you get your music, and find a ton of exclusive releases by heading to their Bandcamp, phoebenix666.bandcamp.com. You can also keep up with them by following them on Facebook and by following them on Instagram, phoebenix66.
I could have lived 100 lifetimes or more before I ever heard your glorious sound.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code podcast when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.